All right.
Welcome to the Parlor Car Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Tonight's top stories.
all of our podcast. I am and Steam Tank.
I thought you just said something that's not supposed to be said. Oh my god.
Welcome to the new and improved Catch a Train.
Oh yeah, sorry about that, headphone users. I accidentally left the whatchamacallit, because I'm watching the stream at the same time so I can monitor comments, but I actually forgot to mute the stream on the computer I'm talking on, so that
way
makes
ahead of
everyone
you.
else's sounds. Anyway, all right. Please wait.
Yeah, you're not the only one. I thought I was hearing two wills. I only need one. I don't need more than one.
I know. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
That's terrifying.
So anyway, apparently there's 6 people watching. One of them is probably, or 2 of them is probably ourselves. So who cares? But anyway,
they're not supposed to know.
anyway,
Stop giving away the
but
secrets.
for those who are watching that are not one of us, okay. Thank you for tuning in, and welcome to the Parlor Card Podcast. It also, which is now on a monthly schedule. Now it's every 2nd and 4th Sunday of every month.
Cool.
So, and it's from 8 to 10 p.m. PST. And so I'm Steam Tank. You got Mecha Flyer, Spiral Force, the editor Gary, and special
Just a nobody. Nope.
Special nobody and East Coast representative AceBriggs6. So anyway, I guess we'll move into the main thing, which is the recent MLP episode, which was for here. Now, who's watched the recent episode?
Which one was it? The
sadly
Christmas
am
one or
not,
the university one?
I'm not caught up at all.
Oh, well, this is gonna suck.
I'm caught up.
You.
I guess.
No, the most recent. I guess we could talk about the most recent few. I guess. It's the one with Star Swirl and the one with Flim and Flam.
Yeah, that would be Friendship University.
Yeah. Yeah.
Friendship.
However, there is another one that came out this weekend, but that's in Australia, and we're going by U.S. scheduling. So
Yeah.
no spoilers for anyone else who want to keep with the U.S.
No spoilers!
Ponies are in it.
How
Damn it, you've ruined everything.
I had to go
That's
into
my job.
what happened in the episode because I actually just watched it last night, and there's still something that pains me as such a hard feel from it.
Oh,
You should like
go
DM me
ahead.
because I have.
Let loose on it. What are your thoughts on the episode?
They're charging
it-
for papers to learn with. Do you know what this is? They're perfectly emulating the college monopoly on overpriced textbooks.
Hooray!
Oh, yeah.
Education.
Not to mention those Scantrons that you get from the college store.
Oh, God, those.
Scantrons.
Scantron.
Literally, they go through, they say, oh, yeah, these papers don't pay for themselves. And I'm screaming, oh, my God, this is university. They're charging for everything.
I know.
It's like the list that Mr. Krabs had for Squidward. Existing, breathing, living, standing. Yeah,
It's happening.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought that too.
Yep.
But
And that's why you don't go to college in Nevada, or in Vegas at least.
Oh god.
oh my god.
You do not want your degree in gambling. Don't do it.
Degree in gambling. I can see a lot of people get that actually.
Oh my god.
No, the price is kind of high for that one. Usually it's not only monetary, but a certain degree of sanity, even more so than just going for your PhD. Not really worth it from my experience.
Yeah.
No. Just get an
Yeah,
associate.
no.
It's good enough.
Not to mention, I'll be honest, I've never really been to Vegas, so I don't know this. My
We need to
mother.
change that.
My mother's
never been to
grew up
Vegas.
there, and my dad's been there way back in the day. And
Did you just say your mother's as in plural?
Shush. We know I like to put you in the English language.
He's
My mom.
releasing He's releasing secrets that no one's supposed to know.
Well, boy, we're fans of ponies and trains, not English.
Stop sharing trade secrets.
Yeah. So anyway,
sharing train secrets.
I've never been there, but from what I hear, everything there is like twice or 3 times more expensive than outside of the Vegas area.
Gee willikers,
I still say, I'll tell everybody this, and for this group of dudes, it's especially much so. Bypass Vegas, go to Reno. One simple thing: Virginia and Truckee Railroad.
Oh
yeah.
I want to go to Reno so bad for so much other reasons. For one reason alone, the humongous Union Pacific train yard that's literally like a block away, like literally a walking distance block from Summit Racing. Literally. Yep. So that's why I want to go there. In fact, it's funny that you mentioned Reno. This is gonna go a little off topic from the episodes, but this brings up a car thing, and I'll get more into it later. But figure one of the things I want to do with Mecha Flyer is we've been really wanting to take one of my junk cars, make it run, and drive it to Summit Racing. Literally go there in person, buy the cylinder heads for my C20 64 Chevy pickup, and then drive it all the way back home, and then put them on.
Oh God! In an absolute crap box. Drive a crap box all the way across some of the most unforgiving conditions.
Hey, he's got a Honda C. Just needs to have an engine dropped in it.
I'll be honest. A lot of the stuff in my backyard is literally junk right now because nothing runs. It could run, but I figured the whole thing about them is they were brought to 95% completion and then they got forgotten and walked away from.
Franken Civic does not always work.
Franken Civic? It doesn't work, period. Let's get that out of the way.
No, it's missing it's missing the entire motor and like few rear wheels, and it has rusted rear brake spindles.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I need to take
not working. It's not working, period.
But
I need to get that clarified.
But yeah, figure once we have the time and can actually do it, my dad actually bought like a ton of cheap off-brand GoPro knockoffs online. I got like 6 of them or something like that.
They still shoot in 1080, which is beautiful.
And they shoot 1080, yeah. So I really want to do an episode of High Octane where we drive there.
Ring and the Cha-Cha? What the fuck?
Wait, what?
What? I'm playing Forza Horizon 3 for you people that aren't paying attention.
This is supposed to be trains and ponies, not cars and idiots.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Okay, let's be honest here. A lot of us are pretty crazy because, I mean, honestly.
Pretty is the understatement.
Well, I mean, I just found a bucket list challenge that's called Meringue and the Cha-Cha. I'm not entirely sure how to feel about that yet.
No, well, anyway.
I think that's more Pinky's thing, isn't it?
I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, just not to get off too far off topic, but yeah, that's one thing we've been wanting to do is go to Reno and Railfan up there at the same time as filming a car episode for High Octane.
The question is,
okay, let's get this out. Let's get this also. Spiral and myself are in here. Telling us not to go off topic is semi-impossible.
No, the impossible has already been made. I'm actually here.
This is a podcast. It has one thing to do with the podcast. That's the name. After that, no holds barred. That's any podcast.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, going back to the recent episodes, because there'll be more like car talk later, because I got a story to tell later.
Once was an ugly barnacle.
So anyway, for my thoughts about the episode with Flim and Flam is that I, for some reason, and this has been throughout the entire this season and last season too. They've been giving Rarity a lot of different styles, like character styles.
Rarity Punk was the best thing to ever happen to her.
Yeah, Punk Rarity. I love that hairstyle. I'm like, why didn't they keep that? And then automatically, like next episode, her hair is like back to normal. I'm like, how many months go by for her hair to grow back to normal like that?
Cartoon
One
logic.
word, magic.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I would have loved to have seen her more in those different type of styles instead of the same exact Rarity that we always see. I would have liked that a lot better. Because she's a lot more likable to me when she's not the prissy version of herself. I'm sorry for those Rarity fans, but not a fan of Rarity in her normal self. But when she's trying to be something other than herself, all of a sudden she's very likable. So
I guess. I mean,
well, I mean, then
Rarity's,
again,
Rarity's kind of an interesting dynamic altogether, to be honest. Because she is one of those girls. Sounds like she's dirty, but when duty calls, she does what needs to be done.
mm-hmm.
You said
she sounds very.
You need to be hit.
Carlo, go sit in the corner. Mecha?
Anyway.
Go,
Technically, I'm actually around at a corner right now. I mean, my computer's like at the corner of the living room.
Okay, smarty pants.
Yeah.
Okay, so Gary, what did you think of the app? Or is he there? Gary?
I think he hid.
I thought you scared him away.
I think he's there. I saw his microphone light up.
The only thing I will say about the episode that I liked is that Starswell, he wasn't a jerk.
Oh yeah.
He's in a conservative. That's what he is. He isn't a bad guy anymore. That's what I like about the episode. They turned him around.
Basically, he's no longer a crotchety old fart. He's the fun grandpa.
Yeah, let's go with that. Okay. All right. So, another thing we can discuss is the idea of merchandise, Railroad Brony merch.
Merchandising.
I want to know what you guys think about possibly making, I want to know what you guys think, and I want to know what you guys may have heard from other people as well about it. But what do you think about the possibility of making a straw poll like thing, posting it on some social media, either Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever, and have it so that we can ask people what would they like? Shirts, hats, license plate covers.
What the heck?
Oh Jesus!
Something, I don't know. I don't know what people would like. I do know shirts are a big thing, and I believe somebody said like rolling stock.
That would have been me.
I would say that is made to made to order. Like the moment they request them, then we make it.
Yeah, that would have to be a made to order.
The thing I had brought up a little bit back, I think it was, is rolling stock. The cars themselves, depending on what gauge you buy, be it HO, O, N scale, whatever, that's not usually as big a deal. The problem will come down to the customization. Do you want it with Railroad Bronies decals on it? Do you just want it with autographs? What do you want on it? Something to make it more RRB related than anything. I'd say if you're going to do like events, just get like 2 or 3 customized ones just to have sitting out on a table. Obviously, you don't want an entire freight yard full of cars sitting out on a table. That's just ridiculous. But if you have 2 or 3 just to see how to feel out the waters, see how they sell, and play it from there.
Yeah. I mean, it would be a nice touch, but remember that every single cars would have to be handmade.
Handmade.
They'd have to be hand painted, handcrafted. So that's why these things would be made to order. There'd have to be some lead time to them.
Yeah. Well, with
it'd be kind of a limited series, to be honest.
Yeah, and
It
like
depends on how many we want to do.
And like with the BabsCon and RRB boxcar that we auctioned off at BabsCon, I mean that took a while to make, as far as I'm aware of.
It took almost 2 months, I think.
Well, it took 2 months because, well, one, we had to find the perfect one, and
we had to find the perfect one. We had to get all the stuff together. It takes time
to decals,
take time to decal, and we've got to do all this in between our regular day jobs, other things. So, we don't have people who are like dedicated to just making these things.
No.
There's stuff that we do in between everything else. So it's just one of those things where if you want them, we can make them, but you got to give us the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Obviously, we can do hats, shirts, that sort of thing. But at a certain point, you got to think, what can we try to do to stand out from merchandise that anybody else might sell? What's something that is either not commonly seen or not seen at all, which is where the rail car, albeit quite the stretch goal, the rail car idea might have come into play.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, I don't know a group that makes model train stuff, nor any other group that would be geared toward making model train stuff. For us, it's very fitting because we're the Railroad Bronies. I mean, we could maybe even go as far as like, doing maybe personalized engines too. Nothing extremely fancy, but maybe like, something that isn't like special in and of itself. Like a simple diesel engine.
Yeah, but again, from there, you're talking about still, as you said, heavy customization of something.
Yeah.
It really comes down to the trouble of colors. Would you want to go with something simple, like just black with lettering or something fancy on it? Or would you want to go full on pastel colored, akin to how the boxcar that was done for BabsCon was done up? There, you're obviously going to spend
admittedly,
a lot more time on it.
Admittedly, I really enjoyed that BabsCon boxcar looked, and all in all, that thing came out amazing.
Yes, it did.
If you were at BabsCon this year, you saw it on the stage. I think they walked it around a little bit so you could see it in person. We did run it on the layout too. The guy that bought it very, very happily obliged to allowing us to run it in the layout in our
I remember that
section, which was really fun. I loved how that thing came out.
Originally, when we were talking about doing that, I had thrown an idea about getting some of that model foil, and so it would have like a metal-like texture, like that cold texture when you would touch it or something like that. But I didn't have the money at the time to fork anything towards that, so it never really happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, it came out really nice regardless of it, and our guy and our good buddy Buffers, he did a good job painting it.
Yeah.
And Gary did a great job on
it was a labor, and I hope that everybody understands that if they want one of those, it's going to be a labor of love. It's not going to be an overnight operation. It's going to take a while.
Yeah.
But when it comes out, know that our guys soul out into it, and that it was special made for each person. Hence why I'm also thinking it's probably going to be like a limited edition run, because this isn't something that we can like do all the time. But I don't foresee a problem with doing custom orders.
Yeah. However, though, if somebody wanted one like the one we made at Babs, I don't think we'd probably make a remake of that one, because that one was a special one just for that.
Yeah, that was a one-off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like some of back at EQLA when we had gotten some of the shirts with the blank, non-colored logo. That was a specialty, and whoever has one of those, yeah, yeah, you'll. Yeah. I don't even have one of those.
Neither do I.
Yeah, yeah.
Although I have some custom merch for myself. I have a custom Mecha Flyer hat and a custom Mecha Flyer hoodie.
Yeah.
There's another option which I'm actually looking at right across from my desk right now. We could always do, like mainline plushies.
There was an idea about that. There was an idea.
That is a good idea right there. It's gonna.
We just have to find someone that's willing to make those.
That or
people that actually make plushies. I have connections for things like hats and T-shirts and stuff like that. I have vendors that I know that we could go through, that I've gone through for various things. But in terms of stuff like plushies and things like that, I don't know. I mean, another idea that another one that a lot of people do, but it's actually kind of fun when you get it, is trading lapel pins and possibly RRB challenge coins.
That's a good one.
I do like the idea of a challenge coin. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. I think that would be kind of a fun little nod.
Actually,
especially
it'd be really cool to do that. Challenge coins, but make a set, like a collector set.
So they have little variations.
Yeah, make it. Yeah. It's like a set of 6 of them, and you have to collect them.
Yeah, the only thing is challenge coins do tend to be a little bit pricey side to be made, because they have to be molded and pressed, and they're made of metal, and then there's the enamel that has to be painted on them. So, I mean, it's definitely better to have them made in bulk.
Technically, you don't have to paint them. I know of a way that is actually fairly cheap and easy to do, and any of us could actually do it from home. There's this company called Eastwood, and they sell for like less than $300. You can buy an electronic heating oven and and it goes on an air compressor, and you plug it into AC power, and you get the powder, and you can really spray this powder on. It's electrically static discharge powder from a compressed air nozzle. Spray it on, you put the piece in the oven, you set it, you heat the piece that you're working on to its core before melting point. Obviously, you don't want to melt it, but just you heat the metal all the way through, you let it cool for the same amount of time, and you can powder coat it. Any color you want. You can even mix powder coating and get a nice metallic effect.
I can say from experience with powder coating, it's not that simple.
No, it takes a lot of practice, and but I was actually thinking about investing in something like that because I wanted to powder coat my own stuff for, let's say, my cars, and maybe a couple of model train stuff too.
Yeah, for the big thing for powder coating, if you're familiar with how it works, it starts with a static cling effect. They are electronically charged particles that are attracted to and stick to the metallic object you are trying to powder coat. Then you bake it. It's not just get the plastic particles sticky and throw them on. It's a lot more than that.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm just saying that is something that you could do for like metal coins. You can powder coat them gold, silver, blue, or whatever you want. That or you can just anodize them.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could do homegrown electroplating or something.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like what My Little Ties does. They have an laser anodizing.
Yeah.
That he uses. That's actually really cool.
Are you talking about the laser color printer? He was talking about that the last day of BronyCon while I was there, which is something
he was there.
I need to talk about.
Because that guy is actually cool. Igor Bass.
Yeah, every single convention there ever is.
Yeah,
So
I don't
really,
mind
really
giving him a. He's actually been dealt with.
He actually follows our Twitter.
Yeah. No, he's got some really fun stuff. He originally started out doing custom ties and tie clips and stuff like that, but he's recently gotten into, a couple of different things. He does some leather work, and he's been doing a lot of like laser etching and laser like that.
Yeah.
And it's actually really, really cool. If you happen to run into him at a convention, you can see some of his stuff. You can also go online, mylittle.ties.com, I believe.
Yep,
you can find a lot of his stuff over there, which is amazing.
Yeah, he was explaining for about 15, 20 minutes how he was using the various laser power levels, frequencies, and everything to literally start doing different colors of laser engraving. So you could take something he was able to do on one coin, Princess Celestia's mane, in the 3 different colors, all with a laser. And I'm going, I didn't even realize that was doable.
Yeah,
I thought it was black and white.
There's no paint. It's all laser anodizing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how it comes out.
Yeah.
But
figure something like that, you could do. But another thing is, it all comes down to cost. Is because getting a laser etching machine, that's a lot of money.
No, he spends a lot of money on.
Yeah.
He spends a lot of money on getting. I don't even think he owns the laser. I think he rents time on the machine. Oh, he does now.
Owns it now?
He does now.
Okay. But
yeah, because I remember he used to tell me that he would rent time, and that it wasn't worth doing unless he was on that a certain number of items would sell, and that's how a lot of this stuff is. In it's basic retail. You don't order something unless you're sure it's going to sell, because otherwise you're shooting yourself in the foot and taking a loss.
Well, going back to what I said about powder coating is with powder coating, it's relatively inexpensive, and you could do it from home relatively cheaply at the same time.
Not easily, though.
Well, I mean, if you have access to an air compressor, power, and some open space where you can get this powder all over the place but the best thing is when if it's not clinging to the piece of metal that you're sending electricity through, I mean, you just sweep it up and you put it in the trash. I mean, it doesn't make a mess. It's not like paint, where if you get the paint on something, like let's say you're doing it in your house, in your room, I mean, you have a paint booth in your room, like for some modelers. But if you get overspray on something that you shouldn't have, I mean, you're kind of out of luck there.
A nice way of putting it.
Yeah. So with powder coating, if you mess up, all you do is you brush it off and you start over. So that's something to look into.
Yeah.
And apparently Gary crashed. He'll be back.
I see Derpy flipping a railroad crossing sign upside down. I think she sat on his internet.
Yeah. He fell out the parlor car door.
There.
I think he's back.
Yeah, he's back. There he is.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, I guess powder coating is another thing we could look into. But aside from the challenge coins and train cars, I do know shirts are a big thing. I think
I never got one before BronyCon happened.
You need one, of course, yes. And we need to make that happen. I actually, sad story, but I had washed my shirt that I wore at at BabsCon. I washed it, and it got the picture got destroyed in the dryer on the lowest setting. I even shoved it in a pillowcase. It got destroyed. It was apparently.
Did you flip it inside out?
Yes, I did. Inside out, in a pillowcase. Tied the pillowcase up, threw it in the dryer.
Those things don't do well in dryers. You have to.
It didn't
wash them on a cold setting, and
I did. It was all cold, everything. And the way I do it with my roadkill shirts, not to do shameless self-promotion for them or anything, but I got one of their shirts. I wear it all the time. I wear it. I work in it, get grease in it, on it. I mean, it goes through hell and back. And then all of a sudden, I washed the two of them together, and I could see the difference in those. So I think for those shirts, we need to look into another place for printing. Because for those who have a hard time washing stuff like that, it might be an issue.
I do have a vendor for that.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there. I do have a vendor for that.
And so shirts. And another thing I was thinking of is maybe jackets, or something like little windbreaker jackets, you know.
What, like a Letterman?
No, not a Letterman. More like it's like a jacket you would wear in like the weather if it's windy outside, and it's kind of lined with some fleece in it or something, you know.
Okay, those could be a little expensive.
A little expensive, but I think those would sell because I like jackets like that. I don't know if anyone else does, but I love those types.
There is another option, and I think it more come down to embroidering at that point rather than printing because of the nature of it. Towels.
Oh,
towels. That would be funny. A full-on bathroom set or a kitchen?
Yeah, like a beach towel. Just get a big blank beach towel that you can take out to wherever. It has Railroad Bronies or something on it. Be cool.
Yeah, it could be.
But again, the problem is, at least the ones that I have, it looks like the print is either inked into it or it's part of the thread. I don't know. I'm not 100% familiar with how towel printing works, but something like that.
It's usually embedded. When they print it, it goes like all the way through into the thread. But it depends on the kind of ink that they use. It's not going to be a heat transfer like they do with T-shirts and hoodies and stuff like that. It's going to be properly like inked into the material.
Which does bring up another idea. I know I mentioned mainline earlier. If we're talking about big pieces of fabric and ink and mainline, you could do, in mainline tack.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're catching what I mean by that. I doubt anybody would buy it, but I've heard crazier.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we had a vendor at Babs. Trying to remember his company name all of a sudden. I blanked on it. Torben. He was one of the big vendors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In the main hall at Babs, and he's got all this crazy stuff, and surprisingly, it sells. He's got stuff like, eyeglass cleaning rags, and he's got pot holders and cutting boards. He's got stuff you wouldn't expect.
I will not.
And I think people buy it just because you don't see that anywhere else. Nobody else ever does that. So it's so out there that you want to buy it just because,
Yeah, I will not lie.
Steam Tank bought this glass cutting board that he makes, and it's just absolutely beautiful. The ridging on it gives it like beautiful. A 3D effect, and it's wow.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. I don't even want to use it. I want to put it in a frame and put an LED light in it.
It backlights so well.
Yeah. However, I will not lie. At the con, out of every other vendor there, he got the most of my money.
Oh, easily. I mean, he had some of random stuff you can think of.
Yeah.
He had wallets. He had, messenger bags with switchable flaps. You could buy a ton of flaps. He had pillowcases for various sizes. He had blankets. He had, you name it. He probably had a version of it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
He may be the one to talk to and ask about some options for possible.
It's funny that you mentioned that, but we were talking to him about maybe some sort of planning and partnership in the future. I'm not sure if it's gonna happen, but
from like cross licensing and stuff like that.
Because
that's how his business works. That's how his business works. You know, if he's gonna do certain things, I think that like we would have to license him to be like an official distributor or something like that. But it's something that we'd have to talk about behind the scenes. You know, it's not something really get into depth about on the podcast. But you know, just there are options out there definitely for various different things.
Now, the other thing is obviously a lot of people know that we do a lot of our events and videos and content all in our own pockets. We don't get anything else to fund our stuff.
Yeah, a lot of stuff is on our own time and out of our own pockets.
Now,
you know, the sweat off our own backs, you know.
Yeah. However, I have been seeing this a lot lately, and I have been messaged quite a bit, especially by people in the Pacific Northwest, very heavily. And they want us to go to Everfree Northwest. People want us to go to HarmonyCon, which just started. People want us to go to a lot of places, even non-cons. They just want us to go to their state and visit. You know,
We've been invited by various people.
Yeah.
Even people that don't represent conventions. They just want us to come out to these conventions so that they can meet us in person
and hang out with us, which is great. Yeah. And just like with you, Ace,
we'd love to do that. It's just, you know,
it's just money from my wallet, literally hitting the floor.
Yeah,
just threw it at the floor. The wallet, that is. It's kind of like the best thing we can do is, if you really want to meet us that bad, obviously you're probably, maybe if you're asking us to come to you, you're in the same boat as us. Not that much money to go anywhere farther than your own home state. So with that said, if you want us to come see you, I was actually thinking about maybe starting up a Patreon. So that you can help support our content. And if you want us to film in your state, we could use that to go to your state, film, get content, hang out with you, you know, whatever it may be. And I think that, and if anyone would like to support that, then comment in this video. I'll put a poll up on our Twitter and Facebook, stuff like that.
I think in terms of a Patreon, I think we might just start one up and see where it goes. Well, and you know, hey, you know, we get a Patreon going. If you want to donate to it, then donate to it. You know.
Well, we do technically.
We'll see what we can pull off with that.
We do technically have one. I made an account a long time ago. I just never really brought it up.
Yeah, but I think in terms of the Patreon, we might just let it go live and see what it does.
Yeah. I mean, heck, as much as $5 would help.
I mean, if you want to contribute,
$5 towards something.
You want to see more content, you know?
And then we'll give you something small. At least one would be like a personal thank you from us for helping us out, even if it's just $1 a month.
Yeah.
For $500 a month, we'll send you a 12 of LENINADE.
Oh my God!
My God!
If someone did $500 or even $100, I don't know what I could possibly do except to be like, okay, if you are serious about this every single month, we will come to you and hang out with you. But or I mean, if not all of us, at least one of us will make the trip.
Yeah, I mean, there's that too, because we're all working adults, and getting time off of work isn't always feasible for everything. But we definitely
we're not
try.
all YouTubers.
Yeah.
I mean, I figure a lot of we don't even monetize our videos.
No, we don't.
Not many people know that we don't monetize our videos at all.
Nope.
You know, I mean, the only videos that I personally plan on monetizing are the ones for High Octane, and we haven't even started that yet.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out how to get that going.
Because that, like Mecha Flyer said, it comes down to time, you know, and work, and planning in between it. I mean, it'd be great to just have to do filming and doing that and earn money, but that's not a realistic goal at this point in our lives.
Yeah.
Because I do enjoy filming. I love it.
I do too. I don't mind staging some more, like, films where we, you know, do some acting and some scripting and stuff like that.
I mean, figure like our EQLA announcement video and our BabsCon announcement video. For those, I like those type of videos the most because it was kind of us, you know, just coming out of the blue and saying, "Hey, this is who we are."
Yeah.
Hi, we're people.
Yeah.
Yeah, just sounds odd.
Congratulations. You're the next recipient of these escapees from the nut house.
You know, that actually can work.
Yeah.
Well, I won't lie. We are a bit nutty at times, but we're the good kind of nutty. Okay, a lot.
A bullseye and a bullseye. Fans of trains and ponies. We're 1 in a billion.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You know how
you would think, but our likes are kind of starting to show differently.
Yeah.
Wait, likes? What do you mean? Like his personal likes or what?
You know, if you look at our venues or Twitter or Facebook or you know.
Oh yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, figure our
internet
our Facebook,
history.
I mean, let's be honest. Our Facebook has been around since the beginning. Our Twitter came in a lot later.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Twitter is actually one of the youngest things on there, next to the RB Steam account, which none of us really use.
Yeah, we have an RB Steam account.
And Steam group, you know, what's funny enough, when Claire Coylette was doing her Let's Plays and game videos way back in the day, like back in 2016, 2015, she actually joined that group. So she's in it. She's just never on Steam anymore.
Yeah.
She hasn't been on Steam since 2016.
There's that, and we have our RB Discord. I think we have an Instagram.
No, we don't.
We don't?
No, the only I don't think we do. I don't know. I never made one. I do know we have personal Instagrams, like Spirals.
Hello.
I don't really use mine.
Yeah,
You see mine with random things from time to time. Like most recently, my little Darth Vader model kit I finally finished building. The stickers are a pain in the rear.
Yeah, I mean,
most of the stuff that I would post on an Instagram, I already post on Twitter anyway. So it's like,
I mean, well,
it sounds kind of weird doing the same thing through 2 different channels.
Or even 3 different channels, because you got Facebook too.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I post on Facebook.
Somehow.
Most of my personal work for, you know, the Mecha Flyer brand, I guess I would call it, will be posted through my Twitter or on the official RRB Facebook.
Yeah. But aside from that, no, we don't have an actual Instagram. But
I know we have a DeviantArt.
Wait. I could have sworn that RB did have an Instagram a long time ago.
We might have. If we did,
one of the images, I believe, is back when we were at Applebee's many years ago.
That shows how responsible we are. We don't even remember what freaking channels we have anymore.
Well, I did write them down and give them to you guys, but we all lost them. I have some of them still.
Yeah. Oh, and we have an RB amino.
Oh, that little thing, yeah.
I forgot about that.
Don't know. Gary's been the one behind that.
Gary's the one. I think Gary's more active in there.
And apparently, we do have some active people in that group other than just him.
Yeah. No, I've been on there. The amino's actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's a nice little thing, yeah.
Yeah. And
but yeah, figure Patreon wise, if you want to see us in other states or anything like that, yeah. But like with my question though, like with the other one, do you guys all agree on making a poll for these things?
I don't think we need a poll for the Patreon, but I don't mind making polls for like the merchandise.
Yeah.
Okay, the merch.
I think as far as the Patreon, we just make it live and see what happens. You know, instead of asking people, would you like to donate to us? You know, it's just, well, here's our channel. If you want to donate, have at it. I don't want to make people feel obligated that they have to announce that they're going to donate to us. There's a lot of times where, you know, I go out there and I donate to different things, and I don't even I don't care if my name's tied to it, because that's not why I do donations.
Hey man,
I just do it to support. That's it.
You know, it's the theme of generosity, and you know, when you see somebody needing some help, you know, lending them a hand shouldn't always be for your own personal gratitude, you know,
because it's what feels right to do.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest right now. I have the ability, well, not the ability, but the mental ability to edit stuff, because I have sound editing software that I got for school, which was I was able to write off for school. But in terms of video editing, I don't have any video editing software, nor do I have a computer that's capable of doing video rendering.
Basically, Gary and me are the only ones. Gary and me are the only powerhouses here for video editing right now.
Yeah. I mean, I will admit I have a project computer in the works. It's called Project Snow Yeti, because it's a massive computer build. Like I started building this back when I started back in late 2015 when I started to go back to school. And it's still not ready yet. Still, all it has is just a case, power supply, board, and processor. I'm missing everything else.
And a bit of an I/O board on two sides that's been jury-rigged together.
Which work.
They work. They're just,
and if it works, it ain't stupid.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, figure I can't use that because no graphics card.
Yeah.
Can't edit video without a graphics card.
Hey, I have a graphics chipset. The best I can do is maybe a Windows Movie Maker.
But then at the same time, Windows Movie Maker, that quality-wise, it's going to be really low. But anyway. But yeah, so but the actual question is yeah, definitely if you like our content and you do want to help in supporting us, look for that in the coming months or days or whenever we get around to it.
Yeah.
Hopefully sooner than later.
Sooner, please.
The train is scheduled. We just don't know when.
Exactly.
Like every single Class 1 railroad company.
Yeah. Anyway, so aside from that, let's see. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
Well, how about current events like the mental fires that have made the state?
Seriously, I thought the one in Burbank was bad enough. This one's just massive.
Well, I've got one near me. The
exactly.
Holy Fire.
Yeah, you talk about
that's gone over 22,000 acres. And for the better part of 5 days, they couldn't get over 5% containment. It was really, really bad.
How
I basically
in the
had to
hell is
watch
there
this
anything
thing.
left to burn in California at this point?
You'd be very surprised.
You'd be very surprised. Actually, back in 2017, we had a very, very rainy season come about, and it actually wreaked havoc. It's one of the bad things about this state is that, you know, when it rains, it pours, but it only rains for so long, and then all that stuff dies and dries out. And at that point, it's just
Fuel.
It's fuel. There's that, and there's some stupid things that some politicians did back in the 1920s, where they invested in eucalyptus trees.
Yep.
And
trees.
what people don't realize about eucalyptus trees is that when they mature, they secrete an oil, which is toxic and highly flammable. And there's hundreds of thousands of them coating the southern half of our state. And they basically, they're getting to that 100-year mark where they start properly maturing, and they're starting to secrete that oil. So we're basically covered in not only super dry grasses and chaparral, but trees covered in oil that will catch fire at the easiest little spark. The sad part about this fire is it isn't one of those easy little sparks. Apparently somebody who has already been arrested allegedly started this thing over a feud with a couple of neighbors. And it's really rather pathetic. It's really rather pathetic that somebody would have a feud with maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 people and would suddenly ruin the lives
of many.
Yeah, probably
thousands.
I would say about 20,000 people got evacuated for this thing, if not more. There are still people that are still evacuated. There's some people that have been able to return because the fire has moved towards the north, but that's also created a situation where other people are being forced to evacuate. People are on the brink of losing homes, losing.
I just hope one thing, because you depend on that one freeway.
I have other ways around.
You do, but
they go out of the way.
Short. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you'd be like, I doubt you'd be able to take the mountain roads over into Oceanside or anything like that.
Oh, that mountain road's been closed since this fire started.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it originated. Highway 74.
Yeah, you'd have to literally go down to San Diego, cut across to the 5, and take the 5 up.
I don't have to do that, but I would have to go over the hill into Paris and Menifee and then take the 215 up, which is going out of the way still.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a mess over here. Steam Tank, I don't know if you have the. Oh, there's one of the pictures. Mm-hmm. So those were. I made myself a little project. I was taking photos every night this week on the nights that I was home. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights after getting off of work, I got pictures of the fire slowly progressing over the hill and working its way down into the Elsinore Valley. There's one from Monday. Just as it was on the other side of the hill, you could see some of the flames starting to lick over the top. The one just before that was Tuesday, where the fire was over the top and making its way down into the valley. This thing was massive, and there's a couple different. There's Tuesday. There's a couple different things that happen around Lake Elsinore. There's actually something called the Elsinore effect, where we get these crazy strong winds that blow from the south to the north and back and forth, and because of the way that the valley is. There's Thursday night. You can actually see those red lights on top are the fire engines. They're positioning themselves over the top of the fire, hopefully being able to get some high ground on it. They're still fighting it. They're still out there. The last reports, I think, said it was 41% contained, and it's at 22,000 acres. And this is, mind you, day 7 of this fire.
About a whole week.
Yeah, and they only really started getting some ground on yesterday. Yesterday morning, they said that it was at 10%, and then it jumped to 29%, and then it was 34%, and now it's at like 41%. But that's nothing. This fire, as intimidating as it is, ruining most of the air quality in the Southern California area. It's nothing compared to some of the fires up north. There's one called the Mendocino Complex Fire, which is the ranch fire and the river fire that are basically so big they pretty much merged into each other. And that is now the largest fire in state history. It's
no way it surpassed Yosemite.
It's over 300,000 acres.
Actually, from last night, I saw
300,000 acres. Let me put it this way: the smoke from it has, because it's been perpetuating has punched into the stratosphere, and it's been picked up by the winds aloft and the jet stream. Ultimately, there is smoke and ash in the air over New York City from that fire.
I heard about that. I saw the news article on that.
Yeah, it's all the way to New York.
But that fire has exceeded 300,000 acres.
Yeah. Well,
it's
I'm not much
mental how huge it is.
I'm not much one for geometry, but I believe the last report that I saw on my phone pop up about it is that in square miles, it literally covered almost 400 square miles.
It's beyond that already.
Yeah, it's beyond that.
It's well beyond that now.
But I mean, like 400 square miles. I mean, you figure that I'm not sure how they calculate square. I guess it's within a square area. But I mean, if you were to take those squares and line them up, that's like the distance between my house and San Francisco.
Yeah.
If you put them in a single line.
Somewhat like that.
That is a long way.
Yeah, it's a long way. I have an app. I can get you the exact figures on all these fires.
300,000 acres is about 469 square miles.
Yeah. So we've got the Carr Fire, which has been burning up in Whiskey Town near Shasta and Redding. And that's the one that was scary, and it got picked up by the wind and blown into the town of Redding, and it destroyed a ton of homes. That one is at 201,680 square mile, or 80 acres. That's at 61% containment. There's the Ranch Fire, which is Fire 1 of the Mendocino Complex. That one's at 287,000 acres, 62% containment. The other half of the Mendocino Complex, the River Fire, was 48,920 acres, and that's 93% containment. So those two together are, well over 330,000 acres. The one near me, the Holy Fire, is at 22,714 acres and is 51% contained. There's the Ferguson Fire, which was up near Yosemite along the western border. That one is no longer a CAL FIRE incident, so this app doesn't have the exact measurements on it anymore, but it was nearing 90% containment last I checked.
So in hindsight, fire right now in the summer, and especially in California, very, very bad.
Well, it's not just fire in the summer, because The last time we had nasty fires was only a few months ago, and it was in December.
Oh yeah, that's true.
The Thomas fire wound up being one of the largest fires in history. It's now the second largest fire the state has ever had.
Yeah.
God dang it, Thomas, causing nothing but confusion and delay.
Oh god.
Boy. But yeah, that one's up.
Yeah.
Pretty bad. I mean, they're becoming more commonplace. It's kind of frustrating.
Yeah. Well, I got a story. I've sort of been kind of throwing hints in there on my personal social media, especially on my personal Twitter. I went for the first time ever. I went drag racing legally, mind you. It was
legally.
It was at an actual drag strip at the Irwindale Speedway. They have a drag strip over there. It's an eighth of a mile, very small. But it was my first time, and I went because
he goes for no quarter.
I've been having a really rough 2 weeks before that, and because I've been having to deal with obviously I'm still trying to upgrade the networking in my house here, and I'm also trying to help my mother in buying new phones for the house, and I was just getting so stressed out over it. I just needed to let loose and do something.
Did you just say you're buying bones for the house?
No, phones.
Oh, okay.
The bones.
But no. Anyway, so yeah, I was stressed out, and I needed to let loose. So I was thinking, like, it's Thursday night. What is there to do on a Thursday night? I'm like, oh, there's Irwindale Speedway. And
well, there's plenty of things you can do on a Thursday.
Well, yes, there's plenty of
illegal and not illegal, but that depends on what you're doing.
Oh well, I'm thinking of something that I could do to relieve stress. So I thought,
There's a lot of things to do on a Thursday night to relieve stress.
One thing came to my mind, and I don't want to get that in my head right now.
Yeah, this is a work
Okay, the two of you in a trunk off a cliff. Okay.
As long as it's your truck, okay.
No, not a truck. In a trunk and off a cliff. Anyway, so as I'm trying to say it's already going on like the drag races started at 5 and it was already going on like 6 o'clock. So I was gonna be getting there like at 7. I had the idea if I could get somebody to go with me, I could take a carpool in. So I go up to my dad. I said, "Hey, Dad, do you want to come with me to the Irwindale Speedway? They got their Thursday night drag races, and it's like $10 to go in." I didn't. The thing here, here's where it gets funny because I didn't mention a thing about actually drag racing. I just sort of said, I'm feeling very stressed out. I want to go here. I want to have some fun. And so, and on that same day, I was having a horrible day too. I was taking some recycle to the recycle center, and I had these bags tied up on top of these garbage cans that I was taking too. And no matter how many times I tied it or used, every time I'd go up to 25 miles an hour, it would fly off and break the rope. That happened to me like 6 times. So after that, and knowing I was going to go there, and my dad said, yeah, sure, yeah, we could go. I'm like, okay. And I had some cash in my pocket. I'm like, okay. And so I was trying to put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, wait a minute. I could take the truck. So I'm like, if I'm taking the truck, I know one thing, it can be pretty quick.
This is the red truck, by the way, that everybody talks about.
Yeah, the one that's in the video on the freeway. So
3751 chasing truck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I still have the magnets from.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I go ahead and I grab my 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 Simpson Snell approved helmet for 2015 rating, so it's good for like 10 years. And so I grab it. I grab a bag and I pack a backpack. I put my shoes in there. I put my gloves in there. I put some extra stuff in there to take with me, and I throw it in the car, or should I say truck? I throw it in the truck. We start driving there, and when we get up there, figure my dad was thinking like, oh yeah, we're just gonna go, we're gonna park, we're gonna get out, sit in the stands, have a hot dog or two. As soon as he saw me turning left towards the tech pits, he was trying to put two and two together. He didn't understand what was going on. And so the lady there who was giving out the passes, she says, "Are you attending or are you racing?" And I said, racing. Oh, and then one attending. And so I paid $30. I pull over to the tech inspection pit, and by then my dad already put 2 to 2 together, and he seemed okay with it. And so as the night goes on, after making like the first couple of passes down the drag strip, one of the officials comes up. He's chatting with us as we're waiting in the staging lanes before we get up to the burnout pit, and the guy says, "Hey, so you guys have fun?" And he says, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, is this like your first time?" He says, "Yeah." "Oh, how do you like it?" "Well, it's different from what I'm normally used to," he says. "I'm used to sitting in the stands and watching." Figure when he told me we were going to the drag races, I didn't think we were going to be a part of it. And right there and then, I lost myself so bad. It was hilarious, but he was cool with it. And
that's actually a good thing.
And as the night went on, my dad started to realize that like it's something that I really like to do, because I never really had a lot of time to spend with my dad. Normally we attend events, never really do much of anything. So it was a bit of an eye opener for him, and all alone made out for one of the best nights ever that I could ever do. And
best night ever.
And I swear, if I were to have done something like that like several years ago, it wouldn't have flied like the way it did recently. It wouldn't have gone that way at all. Because if I said it directly to him, said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go drag racing, like actual racing," he would have said no. But I sort of just, because at first I didn't think about it. At first I just wanted to go. But it was something that popped in my head as we were going, and yeah, so that turned out to be pretty fun. Got my butt whooped by a ton of other faster cars with nitrous. There is video. I won't show it on here. I actually want to try to get some other footage and stuff. However, I do have some pictures that I have, and I'll show them right now. Here is the red truck of me getting my number and passing tech inspection for a truck that I was surprised that even passed.
Yeah.
Here, I kept thinking that was the end of the truck.
So but the fun fact is the right front fender is missing the inner fender well. It's not even there. I thought they would have failed me on that. They didn't even bother looking. They didn't look. All I did was open the hood. They one look, and that was it. And I'm like, okay, you passed. really? Is this like, yeah? I'm like, oh, okay.
I guess they figure it was so slow you couldn't go fast enough to do an arm.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, yeah. So,
it's still a bit of a torque monster, though.
It is. It's what you would call a one-legger, a one-wheel spinner.
Yeah.
It has an open differential in the back.
One tire fire.
Yeah, one tire fire. It does that really well.
Sounds like a Crown Vic.
Yeah. However, I was doing some research. I actually have a PDF link on my web browser, and it has all the technical specifications to that truck, rear end information, transmission type, engine, everything, all the things I need to know in order to order and swap parts. So I'm actually going to be spending at least $300 at some point in buying a Detroit locker to put in that rear end.
I was going to say that step one is to get those wheels both locked together in a burn.
Yeah. However, the type of wheels that it has currently do not grip at all. They don't even grip in the regular street. I don't know why.
You probably have to get wider rear rims.
No.
The tires specifically.
No, well, I mean, these are full-size rims. You know, factory from Dodge. These are full-size rims. They're 15-inch rims.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. The tire meat, it has to have a wider grip.
Well, yeah,
I
know that.
Street-friendly compound.
But, well, figure this. The tires that it's using, they're Goodyear SRA.
Yeah.
And those tires, you touch them like when they're brand new. They are, obviously, they're very smooth, but they're very hard. They're very hard for a street tire. I don't know why, but whenever you try to slam on the brakes in the rain, you are sailing into the next town. They do not grip at all.
So they're dry weather only tires.
Pretty much. Not even dry weather. I mean, I could barely stop in this thing.
So you might want to invest in better tires, that's for sure.
Yeah. I'm actually looking into buying, only 2 tires at once. But obviously they're going to be DOT road legal, but I'm going to be buying some Mickey Thompson ET street tires. Very sticky, very soft, street legal with the grooves and everything, but they're
street
good
radials, basically.
Yeah. So I'm going to only buy 2. And I'm going to stick them on the back for whenever I go. So that means I got to buy 2 extra rims. Switch out of them whenever I go. But
or
just remember that your drag racing things are going to eat a lot of freaking dirt or a lot of freaking heat.
I'll tell you something.
I'm busy. What? Hold on.
Girlfriend hour.
I'll be right back.
It's not his girlfriend.
My sister just walked in. Give me a second.
Okay, now he's gone. Let's see. Well, I do have some good news regarding for myself when it comes to little things. I'm actually finally going back to my actual working store now.
That's cool.
Starting tomorrow.
Yay. So I have to go halfway across town anymore.
Basically, I can just walk it now.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. She came in here and literally asked me the most stupid question ever. In the middle of a discussion. No. She came in here just to say hi.
That's not a question.
It could be if you're brave enough.
Anyway, as before I was interrupted, as I was saying so just to wrap this story up a bit, and it also, going to the high octane stuff. I mean, obviously, this is some footage that won't go on the Railroad Bronies channel. This will actually go on the high octane channel once I get that up and going. So I actually have some footage to get get going. So that's the video number 1, actually.
That's a good way to start it.
Yeah. So High Octane has its first video. It just got to be put together. Whenever that will be. So as a video, it's honestly in a beginner's aspect, it's very embarrassing because I know for a fact that I could have done a lot better if the vehicle had the necessary tires. But yeah, but I have the slips from when I went and I took a picture of all of them laid out. For those of you watching, it may be kind of hard to see.
7 passes in one night's not bad.
Yeah, I did 7.
Yeah.
So that, one of them I actually got under 11 seconds. I think it was up to about, I think it was like 10:35 something, 10.35 seconds.
Really damn good for a truck.
Yeah. Surprisingly enough, all of them had a reaction time of 0.66 seconds or within that sort of time frame. One of them, I managed to lower it to 0.300 seconds in reaction time. So a full 0.300 milliseconds I lowered. But yeah, so those are my slips. Hashtag save your slips. Okay. So yeah. So that will be coming out soon. But hands down, that was by far the greatest thing I've ever been able to do with my dad. Last thing we've ever done, I was either in 5th or 4th grade and we went fishing. But he's been so busy with having to work to support the family and all that, we haven't been able to do anything like camping or anything like that ever since then. So yeah, that was pretty special. And so yeah, very happy with that. Anyway, so you can see these videos pretty soon. Anyway, so one important topic before we get into the blah 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 whatever stuff, is the whole deal with certain cons ending and the thought processes of every other person out there looking at this news. So BronyCon ending next year and Crystal Mountain PonyCon ending as well. I mean, what's everybody's thoughts about that? I mean, obviously, these cons I know for a fact can't survive. Sometimes the people need to be replaced, you know, or they just don't want to replace anybody and they just want to end it. Fine, but I mean, it doesn't mean anything like the fandom is going in. I mean, all of us are still here. We're still talking. We're still breathing.
We're
still watching the show.
We're still watching the show. We're still talking about it. I mean, grant you, when people say they're leaving the fandom, it's not necessarily that they're leaving the fandom. It's just that
they're leaving the fandom.
No, because they always end up coming back.
Don't worry.
It's a break from the insanity. But once you're part of the asylum, you're marked for life.
No, you have no idea. Figure this fandom is nothing like any other fandom. It's literally once you're in it for life, like you said. It's literally like a family. You know,
whether you like it or not.
You can move as far away from that family as you want, but no matter how far you go or wherever you go,
you're gonna get that message in the bottle.
You're still gonna get that message. Yes, you're still gonna hear something, and you're always gonna come back and say, "Okay, what's up?" But from your guys' opinions, though, what do you think about this recently ending? Like,
also get bad because they're either tired of doing the same thing or just tired in general, or new things come up in their lives they can't even do cons anymore. post cons or support cons or staff cons. Like, life changes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, for something like BronyCon being one of the biggest and largest Brony conventions out there.
It's the convention.
Yeah, it's the convention of conventions for Bronies, MLP fans alike. But I mean, you would think, I mean, yes, they're ran by regular people, just like how we run the RRB. But I mean, for a con of that magnitude, obviously, I know they sell enough tickets to pay for the venue. They have to with what they charge with a lot of these cons and a lot of package deals.
Well, I mean, you got to understand too that cons are a labor of love.
Yes,
the majority of the people that work these things, they don't see a cent off of them. No. They're put together by the fans for the fans, and they're done for as long as they can do. And from one of the things that the one of the vice con chairs from EQLA told me, it's a process that it takes a lot out of you. There's a lot of work that you don't realize that goes on behind the scenes, and basically for every hour of con content, these 3-4 days long, for every hour of con content, there's maybe about 40 hours of prep work that go into it. So these are cons that are several months in the making, that are 40 hours a week, that have to be sorted out and put together, and these people are spending that kind of time and not making any money off of it. So when you think about it that way, there's that factor too, that, you know, how many can people keep that up?
Yeah.
You know, before they get tired and just can't handle it anymore.
Yeah. Well, much like how EQLA was owned, I mean, most of these cons, they're actually corporations. Whether they file as
they
an
incorporated
LLC.
on purpose. That's
well, you kind of have
liabilities and stuff like
that. Yeah, but I mean, so technically it is somewhat of a business in a sense, and like with most businesses, I mean, you know, people can find other people to lead it, you know, with job applications, obviously, you know, so there are ways to make things go time. However, I believe this is, I was talking to somebody else about this. Somebody said, like, these people get attached to it, much like how we're attached to the RR. But I mean, obviously, you know, if it's something that still gets a lot of people, it means a lot to a lot of people. If you're doing it for the fans, you'll want to make it last, even if it outlasts you. I mean, so figure if it's still getting people, there's still a love for it. And for me personally, I think they should have done is they should have opened up application processes to hire to replace them. That way, nobody's like, oh, the fandom's dying, and that and everyone else and their brother follows suits.
Honestly, I think there's one thing that plays into this really big. If you'll notice, it started last year with Nightmare Nights, and now we've already got 2 casualties this year, and who knows what for the future. Next year, keep in mind what ends.
Yeah.
Wait, casualty what?
2 casualties, BronyCon and Crystal Mountain PonyCon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Next year, with the end, supposedly, of Friendship is Magic Generation 4 and the lead into Generation 5, that's going to be a really big unsettled point. It's going to be a little bit of a gap of unknown and seeing where Gen 5 really takes us. The way I see it, once Gen 5 gets going, either all convention activity will die as everybody just gives up altogether, which I don't think is going to happen, or people will look at it as a new breath of life, keep going back for all the old VAs from Friendship is Magic because they've all had their stories and everything, as well as whatever comes of Gen 5, and we will see a renewed, invigorated effort of the Brony fandom, just how you'll there has been people of the modern generation who've said, "Oh yeah, I was watching it back in the '80s." There will be people who join in on this crazy train for Generation 5, and you'll have some of the quote-unquote veterans saying, "Yep, I remember joining in back when it was Friendship is Magic." It's just a new carry-on into a new era.
Yeah. And like what you said is that you know, I figure when the MLP movie came out in theaters, I saw that and I said, this is it. This is gonna be the mini that the fandom needs. And it did exactly that.
Was definitely a make or break. That was either going to be, you know, that movie was going to be amazing, which it was, and it was going to be the burst the fandom needed to reignite the flame, or it was going to go south and it was going to be just like the final, you know.
Because
Equestrian Girls.
hey, don't knock Equestrian Girls. I actually love Equestrian Girls. I got every film. Anyway, but
you're fired.
but yeah. So yeah, I mean, figure I can only hope that this newest generation can really live up to the old hype and more, because I came in literally into the fandom. I came into the fandom at the tail end of season 3. So I didn't get to see the beginning all that much and all the hype and everything like that. I got in the tail end of the hype train. And that pisses me off.
March 22nd, 2011, while season 1 was still underway.
Yeah, you know, oddly enough, I remember when it came in and all that hype. I was still in high school in my last year, and people I knew were watching it, and they tried to get me into it. If I could go back in time, I'd kick myself in the butt, and I would say, "Hey, go watch that right now."
Yeah.
I would make myself watch it sooner, because I'm kicking myself in the butt for not doing it then. Because I did know of it. So
I got back.
I wish I could do that. But yeah, going back to the whole con stuff. I mean, I really think BronyCon should have, because they're the biggest con, the main con. I mean, once one of the main conventions ends, you kind of start a domino effect. I mean,
either that or the duty will be transferred on to one or more other conventions.
That too. But I mean, simply just by ending it like that, I mean, I seriously think you know, they should have thought that out a little better, because from what I could tell, they were making the decision as the con was going on there. I think that should have been something that they should have thought about. Like, for instance, had them take a break for a year. At least a break. Say, hey, we're going to take a break for a year, and we'll be back in 2021. You know? And let them take a break. And in that year time span, if they wanted to give it up and make the next one the last one, yeah, go for it. But I think ending it on the fly like that was a little premature.
It's hard to tell because I don't think any of us know for sure, but I get the feeling this may have been something that was building up.
Maybe, maybe not. I mean, I've been talking to a lot of people on Twitter, and whenever people say, hey, what's going on? Where is everybody? I say this: nobody is gone. People are still here. It's just that, one, they're just getting older, and two, they have things to do. Kind of like us with our jobs. We got jobs to do. It's nothing like the way it was back in 2014 and 2013.
When everybody was fresh out of high school or fresh in
or
their
not
younger years of college.
Yeah, or not having any work, like
not everybody, but
or me, and we could get together and do more rail fanning, do more content. I mean, it's, you know, people do move on, and one example is is the one Brony DJ musician Garnica. He's going full school time right now, and that's all he's doing. In fact, he's sold out of merchandise on his website. His because I know you still email him, but he ain't doing any more shows.
He's still producing stuff every now and again, but it's for the moment thing.
Yeah,
he's not really making a business out of it like he used to.
Yeah,
and that's why you haven't seen anything Club Luna related as of late, because that was him. That was Guernica.
Yeah, that was all his thing, and you know, I really hope you know, like for instance, Andy Stein, Mondo Pony.
Yeah. He's been kind of out of the loop for a while, though.
He's been out of the loop when we started. That's how long he's been out of the loop for, like 4 years. Yeah. And somebody messaged him on Twitter recently saying, "Hey, are you gonna go to Con next year?" He says, "Oh no, I play more actual venues than conventions now because it's just easier." And I was thinking about that because, as for me, who's a stagehand, I work and do a lot of work for venues and entertainment industry in general. And doing anything at any venue at all is just as difficult if you were just doing it at a convention anyway. So I kind of get the feeling that he thinks that maybe him jumping in, his hype wouldn't be as much as it was before, because he did take like a long time to pursue other things. I mean, he teamed up with another YouTuber called Nate Wants to Battle, and he's been doing actual touring concerts with him and his band. And in fact, they did one down in San Diego recently, and I did want to go to that one. I just didn't have any money at the time.
Yeah.
Because I was still paying off BabsCon, which I just paid off, by the way. Now I'm paying off other things like car parts. So I mean, but yeah, so I mean, everyone's still there. I mean, fandom isn't going anywhere. People are still, and I mean, just because a con says, "Oh, they're going to end it," you should jump ship, you know, because like with HarmonyCon in Dallas right now, previously they had Nightmare Nights Dallas, and that had ended just like a year ago, and now there's another con. So, I mean, just because one con ends, that doesn't mean it's going to be in forever.
Yeah.
But
it's not the end all be all.
Yeah, but going to like what I said, when a mainstay con, one of the largest, hands down, even if a couple of thousand people don't show up, it's still going to be the largest out of every other smaller con, ends, you kind of shake the world with that.
Yeah.
You really do. But that's just my 2 cents on it, you know.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but I think it could have been thought out a bit. But as for Crystal Mountain PonyCon, I mean, I've personally never heard of it until literally a year ago when AC Race Fest first started blogging it. And I knew of it for like 2 years, and then all of a sudden now they're ending. And apparently they've been going on for 6 years.
Yeah.
So, like with what Ace said, I mean, you know, people need to know these things. So, some point, somewhere along the line, a lot of information isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So, it's whether people don't know, or people are just having time. I mean, you know, doesn't mean you need to end it. I mean, if you're not meeting your pay for venue rates or anything like that, I mean, yeah, end it if you're not going to be meeting it. But I mean, if you still are, keep it going.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Well, I think that's enough now, unless else you guys say.
I don't know. What else do we want to bring up?
Good question.
How about projects? Anyone work?
Wait.
It doesn't have to be our personal project.
Project-wise, I don't have anything on my end.
Aren't you building a model?
Oh, well, yeah, the little tiny Darth Vader model. The paint, okay,
it's still something.
Okay, the stickers were okay. I don't know how to do water decals because I'm an amateur at this stuff, but I don't care. So I use stickers. Yeah,
I mean, they look
stickers
good
on
when
this
you
thing
get
was a
them right,
pain.
but they're just.
I hate them.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like Nick G Productions is building a Jones and Lachlin. I don't know how to pronounce that. Steel Company tank car. Laughlin. Thank you.
There you go. Sometimes he needs a little nudge in the direction. And hoe skill.
Huh.
Yeah, that's Nick Guzman. That's Nick.
HO skill is best skill.
As for me, I just recently photos of it to share, but I just recently tore part of the entire front end assembly off of my 64 C20 pickup. I took the hood off finally. I was in the process of removing the front grille today, and it was just so hot though I couldn't couldn't be in the sun that long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really hot lately, but yeah, I finally got that off. I just got to get the fenders and the rest of the front grille assembly off, and I can puck the motor clean.
Yeah.
And stuff. Oh, I also did take off the wing mirrors.
Finally.
Yeah. So that's a ongoing project next to the Snow Yeti computer project that I spoke about earlier. So those two ongoing things. What else? I mean, that's about it for me, really. I mean, just, besides maintaining to my cars and keeping them going so I can keep rail fanning,
Yep.
which I haven't done in a while.
I would, but it's been getting hot.
It.
It's been getting hot. It's like no way worth it.
Yeah. A few of us haven't been out rail fanning in a while.
I'm just waiting for it to cool down a little. I've barely been out of my
house for the last month.
Anime Expo.
Other than AX was the last time I've actually done any chores and errands and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I guess that brings us to the drunken stupor portion of the show. Just talking about things we haven't been able to do.
Okay.
Huh?
Oh, you got Gary started.
Oh, Gary speaks finally after everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Have you ever noticed that, like a Bluetooth speaker, a JBL speaker?
What about that thing?
But when you touch it, it's so textural. It's red. And then, you drink lemonade or lemonade. It's so smooth and bubbly. I just don't know anymore, And wait, hang on, wait.
I think Gary had too much lemonade.
No.
Gary, have you been having anything else other than lemonade tonight?
No, that's just what he drinks. That's what gets him like that. He gets sugar drunk.
Speaking of random shenanigans, I actually recently joined BNSF sponsored Facebook group, Friends of BNSF.
Oh yeah.
Actually, if anybody, ooh, pretty. Yeah, if anybody has any good BNSF images that they think are good enough and stuff, BNSF's hosting a little sweepstakes, whatever you want to call it, for rail fans with pictures of BNSF. But it can only be photos that are taken between the months of June and August, summer months, between the years of 2015 and 2018, apparently. I've already submitted one of mine, so I'm like, okay, that'll work.
Oh.
June 2015 and 2018?
Prize?
Let me actually go to that, actually. I'm looking at the page right now. Give me a sec while I look it up.
Is it like $1 million? I hope it's $1 million.
BNSF is not that, what's the word I'm looking for, friendly.
Okay, how about a couple $1,000? I'll take a...
BNSF doesn't own or watch over 4449, so it's not like they could get you a footplate ride on her.
Okay, let's see. More detailed rules.
Or do they have anything to do with 3751?
No.
Actually, yeah.
Okay, let's see. First place is a Magna cooler that adheres to metal. Oh, wait. A Magna cooler that adheres to metal surfaces, perfect for tailgate parties, off-roading, camping, fishing, or rail fanning. Magna cooler.
A cooler. Okay.
Okay. Second place is something called an OGIO breakaway duffel bag, perfect for gym or travel.
Oh, Geo, I know that company.
And third place is a BNSF Heritage Tumbler. No, not that website. With logos of BNSF predecessor railroads to stay hydrated. Okay, so it's like a little drink
little
thing.
cup
Okay.
thing.
That's okay. That's nice.
Oh man. So pretty much they're telling us our pictures are worth nothing but material items. Okay.
It's the fact that BNSF themselves are sponsoring this and actually taking notice of rail fans says something.
That's what we get for putting our hearts into our photos.
Hey, it's something. I mean, you don't see UP do anything about this.
I mean, if UP did something like this, cash prize to the individual, whatever.
They'd have to really love us to give any of us money.
You know that what UP would do instead is give you prime tickets on the next excursion run of 844.
That I can actually see them do.
Yeah.
First place tickets to riding one of the excursion trains led by 844 or soon to come 4014. I can see that actually.
Is the plan to have 4014 running the passenger excursion runs or more showgirl? Because I mean, let's face it, she did those super heavy coal hauls rather than pulling passengers.
I think that they're gonna do. I think they are gonna do passenger hauls with her, just as sort of a
not
like an exposition kind of.
Basically, think 844, but not 844.
Yeah.
Like 844 was meant as combination freight and passenger. I believe 3985 was mixed as well. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
And I believe Big Boy was straight up freight.
Yeah, again, straight freight.
Yeah, when Big Boy was designed, it was intended specifically to get the hauls of coal over Sherman Hill because they needed it, and it was what was needed for the job.
Yeah.
It wasn't coal, it was a mixture of different kinds of freight.
Pretty much a manifest train.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the big boys, they did pull military trains and all sorts of stuff like that.
And don't forget even
tail end, you know.
And of course, war material, since it was built because of World War II.
Yeah.
Which brings a question of how did Union Pacific get away with designing 4014, all the Big Bore series, from the ground up, considering that due to the war regulations and restrictions, railroads weren't allowed to design new locomotives.
I think what they did is I think what they did is this is not a new locomotive; it's a Challenger, just longer. I think that's how they got away with it.
The Challenger was around by that point.
Yes, before that, yeah.
The Challenger was around the time when they were around before the thefts.
Yeah, the theft came out way later. It came out after the came out a little bit after. No, came out after the Challengers and slightly after the Big Boys.
Yeah,
but around the same time. But if you look at the Big Boy, it's pretty much a bigger Challenger. Just the badge is up below the light.
See, the whole thing about that was that they had the locomotive power to pull those long trains, but they had to stack the locomotives up like triple head, double head. I mean, even then.
Well, I think there's another way that they got around it, because the Big Boys were produced in very, very limited number. So it could have been sort of like, you know, hey, we got a lot of freight. Why don't we make just like a couple of these? I think it was 25 or 26?
25 Big Boys. No, 25, 4,000 to 4025.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Challengers, there's been a ton of them, not including the old predecessor Challengers, the ones that don't look like Challengers that we know, but they were the original Challengers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, I could probably tell where they got a metal from is obviously a lot of the older locomotives that couldn't do the work anymore. They just melt them down, use the metal, and boom, there's the new one.
Probably, yeah. Or knowing UP, they had a lot of material to work with.
Yeah. In fact, if anything, back in the day, the UP steam shops could have made their own locomotives.
Yeah.
They were that sophisticated in maintaining their stuff that they could have easily built them themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
The only thing they lacked was a foundry.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So,
I mean, everybody else tried to make big locomotives. Not all of them worked.
Yeah, but picture the Juliana locomotive shop on the East Coast. That's what the UP shop would have looked like.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
What do you call it? The glorious failures, the Santa Fe
3000, the Santa Fe 3000.
I think it was 3000 or the 5000s?
No, it's 3000.
Oh, okay.
They fused two decapods together, or no? Yeah, decapods.
Yeah. They put driving with tender. That was really.
It was a 210-10-2, and it didn't.
That thing looked horrible.
Yeah, and there was also a thing called the triplex.
Oh God, the triplex. I mean, I can see what they were trying to go for, but there's just no way.
Yeah.
There was no way that you could produce enough steam pressure. Third set of drivers.
It's been said that it was hard enough to produce steam just to blow the whistle.
Yeah.
I think the top range
the triplex design.
Yeah, I think the top speed for the triplex and the glorious failure was about 5 miles, 10 miles an hour.
About. It barely moved. It just like nudge. That's it.
but yeah, so yeah, those are pretty bad. You would think by the end of the steam era they would have had better scientific ways of making steam work in that sort of category.
I think everybody's logic was bigger means better, and it doesn't always work.
I guess they got. I don't mean to harp on any Texans who watch this, but I guess they got the Texas motto too much. I mean, you could go as big as you want, but unless you can power it, it ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
That, and if it doesn't break down as often or something, that's another.
However, I do think those larger locomotives would have worked if they used a broader gauge, kind of like they do in like Africa.
One thing's for sure, they look great as a model.
Model-wise, yeah, they're aesthetic, but I mean, figure practical-wise, I think if they were a gauge-wise in terms of rail, I think it probably would have worked.
I think the rail would barely handle the weight of those things.
Yeah.
Apparently, I got some street racers on bikes.
I mean, didn't they have to like adjust a lot of the bridges just for the big boys alone?
Yeah, they had they had to widen curves. They had to widen rails a bit, change out the actual rails themselves. Because I believe they had 50-pound rail, which was for the older locomotives, and then they changed it to the 150-pound rail, which is what we have now.
Yeah.
And those are designed to withhold the weight of Big Boy. However, there are still some parts of the United States that don't have the 150-pound rail. Because Big Boy never ran out here.
Nope. It's been said that Big Boy has never hit anywhere here in the west, far west. Only over there in the east, in the and the center. That's about it.
So when they took Big Boy out of here, UP literally went through Cajon Pass and re-railed the entire thing.
They'd have
that's what I believe.
Not re-rail, but they just have to like carefully take it through the route it was going to take. Make sure everything's ready, and to make sure the Big Boy doesn't fall apart in pieces or something while it's moving.
Well, no, because I was taught. I remember when it was getting close to the moving date, I had a lot of people who were getting information from railroaders who worked for UP. They were literally called to lay higher tier rail to withstand the weight of Big Boy. Otherwise, if they didn't, Big Boy would have literally smashed the rail into pieces. So, I mean, because that rail is soft metal. It's not. It's like pot metal almost. Because if you put too much weight on it, it will literally bend and compress. I don't know if you've ever taken a rail spike to a vise and hit it with a hammer, but if you hit it one time, you get a which I've done. Okay. Anyway, all right. So, anything else you guys want to talk about? We have about 6 more minutes before it hits 10 o'clock.
Yeah, 6 more minutes.
Well, I mean, I was going to bring up the whole BronyCon thing.
What you got?
Set up the thing that somebody pointed out and saw online on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
I took not a single picture. That was everybody else posting those photos.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I mean, literally, I just went that day. I've still got the stuff, all the kit, the small overload track sitting right by my side here if I'm going anywhere. I literally it was Friday night. I was walking around, stopped by at BronyCon Security, and I had this stuff in hand because I didn't know if I was going to get a chance to set up. But I had it in hand and said, hey, look, is it going to be possible to set this up somewhere on a table or something? How big is it? It's 18-inch radius. Oh, so it's only it's 36 inches deep, but I'll keep it pressed against the wall. Yeah, if you can keep it out of the way, you should be fine. The next day after I set it up, same security guy walked past, got some video. That was the coolest thing I thought. But I had con staff. I had people stopping. Somebody reposted or retweeted on Twitter the video that one young man got for me sitting there. There were kids, young and old, adults, everyone swinging by to see what it was all about. I'm telling you, I thought it was going to be the dumbest move in the world bringing that much. I didn't bring enough. And I'm going to need more business cards. I handed out all but 3 of them.
Oh, my.
All of them.
I have one more box left. I need to order more.
Yeah, I honestly didn't think I'd get that much, but I was sitting out there for about 3.5 hours. For 3 of them, it was nonstop, one person after another coming, funneling by. You could probably see it in the picture. I had a little paper stand with the magnet sitting on it and the cards. I had people taking 2, 3 of them to pass them around to friends. It was insane. That surprising.
That's crazy.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine if we were to actually go there and set up an entire layout like we did at FabsCon this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for this, you saw it was just a small oval, and that enough was to have people coming along to say, whoa, what is that? I've never seen that. Even something so small
as just an out of the place, never would have thought that was there, was enough to draw attention. So as cool as it is to have those monumental setups, I think it's almost more a surprise aspect of this was not planned, but it's here, is what really gets people.
Yeah.
But I mean, even though I'll be honest with this right now. When we were talking with BabsCon about the layout, actually, we didn't even mention the layout. They wanted us to do it.
Yeah, they asked us for that.
And figure it was not public knowledge until literally when we made our announcement video.
And I still remember seeing that tweet, and I still remember calling it out saying, that's it, I'm taking 2 suitcases and bringing stuff with me, and damn it, I did.
Yeah, but I mean, figure, we knew of that, like maybe a month or two, like literally back in just late November, about doing that layout. We knew about it then, like literally 4 months prior to the actual
And you didn't announce, as I seem to recall, you didn't announce it until way later on.
Yeah, we didn't announce until, because we knew that if we said it too soon, we wouldn't have as much hype as a recent thing to get people pumped ahead of time, So
well, it worked on me.
But yeah, I kept it until later. I will admit, I sandbagged it in terms of what race car drivers will use. I sandbagged. So
monster.
I can only just imagine doing that with like BronyCon, like especially like after you did that, all of a sudden, like because I've personally, none of us in here besides probably you have actually been to BronyCon. Like none of us have ever actually went.
Honestly, this was the first time for me going to this BronyCon location. The only other one I'd been to was the one in January 2012, up in that tiny little space in the middle of New York City. I'd never been to any of the big convention ones. And although I'll tell you this much, there is a monumental amount of space inside that convention center. It's kind of hard pinpointing one area that you could call a good crossroads at which to set up the layout. What you saw was literally 36 inches of track slammed up against the wall. And that was only there because it was a good pinch point. I wasn't in the way, but it was right at a key point where people could see it. Yeah. Otherwise, with these big areas across the convention center, you could set up, but would it be in a place where people would necessarily pass by passively?
I mean, it depends on the convention center too. Like the LA Convention Center, say like when Anime Expo is going on, you get a lot of you get a lot of people that'll go through certain areas. So if you could work it out, it's always super crowded in there, but if you could work it out, there's several that you could set up a layout, and it's almost guaranteed that 90% of the people at that convention are going to pass that point at some point during the weekend.
And that's why I set up where I did. The trick is finding that golden spot.
Yeah, I mean, figure if somebody came up and messaged us saying, like if they're from BronyCon staff and they watch this or something, or someone tells them about this, and if they wanted us to go, I mean, the only way that would be possible in terms of all the excuse my language, all the crap we have to bring, literally the amount of money it would take to ship all that, somebody would have to bite the bullet and actually drive all that stuff there.
Yeah.
That, or you literally ship it ahead of time, and that's an incredible risk.
That's an incredible risk. I'd rather just drive it there myself. And not to mention the amount of money in gas you'd spend, you'd spend the same money on weight and shipping.
I know. Believe me, I just did a run across the country. I know how bad gas is. It's hideous.
Yeah. So I mean, if they were to want us to go and do that, there would have to be some conditions. Obviously, I wouldn't mind paying for my ticket. I really don't mind. That's not a big deal. But in terms of hotel-wise, that would be a big problem because that's like almost another $800 something that we spend that we could have put towards gas to getting there. You know.
I'll tell you from experience, hotels range from about 120 on the low end to 180 on the high end. Yeah. And then I'll warn you this much because it came as a rude surprise to me. This is a negative shout out to you, Sheridan Inn. The parking costs on average $26 a night.
Mm-hmm. Really? So there's no free parking at all?
Nope, nothing at all. You are going to get charged, at least at the Sheridan. I believe it was the case at the Holiday Inn, and I believe I heard it was likewise over at the Hyatt, which I am very disappointed in myself. I didn't go and stay at the Hyatt because it was a much nicer hotel and actually connected by a footbridge. But parking in Baltimore is obscenely expensive, even for the hotels. It's almost impossible to find a spot. Everything is super tight.
Oh, sorry. Don't mention paying for parking to Will. He'll have a heart attack.
Believe me, I wasn't exactly pleased when I wasn't aware of it. I rolled in the first day and they gave me the ticket at the window. I was like, okay, just present this. So I went in and got the tag, put it on the rearview mirror. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, whatever. Went back out on Monday to drive home to get ready, go to check out. Oh, yes, there's a $114 charge for 4 nights of parking. You what? I was not happy at that. And she just kind of looks at me. She pauses, fingers hovering over the keys, looking at me like, what are you going to do? Well, there's not a damn thing I can do. Charge me, and this is the last time I'm coming to your hotel.
Yeah. I mean, I will admit, I hate paid parking. I believe parking should be a free thing. But, however, if a hotel is charging for parking to guests who are already paying for hotel, it should be complimentary unless you're not staying at that hotel.
Yeah, that would be what makes most sense.
BabsCon, the parking was tied into the hotel.
Yeah, I believe Hyatt allows at least one, I think 2 parking tickets in the garage. It may just be one that I'm not familiar with. I only ever had to deal with one vehicle.
I think it is only one. But the fact that you do get that one freebie is really nice.
Yeah, plus in and out privileges. I love that with San Francisco. But
especially because parking in San Francisco.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I could have found parking no matter what.
See, here's the other thing, though. It's one thing to be asked by BronyCon, but as much as a weird concept as this sounds like, I'd almost say if BabsCon asks us to come back, and BronyCon does, tell them we're BabsCon exclusive. Draw people who want to see the Railroad Bronies to BabsCon.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're only able to be in this one area.
Yeah, I will say this right now, and because I've spoken to Gary about this. For him and his O scale, it will not leave California.
Yeah, no, Gary thinks he's admitted that Baltimore is a little too far.
Yeah, too far.
I don't blame the guy.
I've even mentioned Everfree to him. It's a little too far for him, too.
I've laid out the appetizer. People have seen what we can do on the smallest of scales. Let that be the catalyst to show here's where you can see more of it.
Yeah, I mean, if people really want our layouts on a much grander scale and like all of us together, what we could do with them, then go to BabsCon because that's the only where you're going to see it. You will only see that at BabsCon. You won't see it at Everfree. You won't see it at BronyCon. You won't see it at HardCon. I mean, if anything, you'll get something smaller, but the actual full-size thing, like we did at BabsCon, won't get that anywhere else. I mean, it's a lot of work hauling all that stuff. We figure hauled it up there, not only had a full size cab Chevy Silverado hauling stuff, but we also
with not only stuff in the bed, but there was a whole tub in the back seat as well.
In the back seat as well.
So that truck was stuffed to the brim.
Yeah, not only Spiral Force and myself, because since it was the first time any of us did an actual that big. Personally, me in my GMC Yukon, I didn't know how much I was gonna fit. I didn't know if I could have fit everyone's luggages plus trains and other things like maybe a toolbox in case I need to fix something in the car along the way. I mean, I didn't know if I would have had enough. And by the time I had the car packed, I realized I had just maybe enough room to shove mine and Mecha Flyer stuff, just barely. There was still stuff that I had to throw on top of stuff. I mean, when we were leaving, because we didn't really pack everything nice and neatly like we did when we were going out there. So a lot of it didn't fit in Gary's truck. So a lot of it had to go into my car. And I will admit, I had no visibility out the rear, which was kind of scary.
Yeah. I know the feeling because I drove it too.
Yeah. So that was
a bit intimidating, driving that big and not being able to see behind you very well.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't even driving I was driving a Chevy Suburban. That's right.
Yeah, we were in the Suburban.
Yeah.
So we were in a longer car than the Yukon, and even that was stuffed.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of stuff.
I took out the third row seats.
Yeah.
Literally. I took out the third row seats in order to get everything we were bringing there.
Yeah, it was mental.
I'm not familiar with how they work, and it's probably a hell of a stretch. But what's the possibility of taking Caltrain from LA all the way up to San Fran?
Oh, Caltrain doesn't go that far.
Caltrain doesn't service anything going down into LA or anything remotely going towards LA.
Like San Jose. So we would have to get some transit up to San Jose and then go to Caltrain.
Well, I mean, even then,
real option.
I mean, the only actual option would be to take the Amtrak's Coast Starlight up, take it into San Francisco. Yeah, actually, it doesn't even go into San Francisco. It actually goes into Oakland, I believe. So we would have to get off in Oakland and transfer or go to Coaster. Not Coaster. That's San Diego. Caltrain. Sorry, and do it that way. But again, a lot of materials, a lot of boxes. Not to mentioning
way too much movement. Not enough.
Yeah.
Not enough
eyes
to.
Yeah. Not enough hands or eyes. And not only
it's a lot of stuff we'd be trying to pull off.
Not only that, but we did have 3 others of us that were going up there, which was Buffers,
Candle Swift,
and our other friend.
That other.
I can't remember her name.
I actually don't remember either.
Yeah, I think it was Flarabelle or something.
Well, next time, since you seem to make him sound like he and I would get along, you need to go get a hold of Petey.
We'll try to see if he's available for.
Well, I told him that the next theme for BabsCon is Cyberpunk, pretty much, and he's a very big into Cyberpunk person. So he may end up going. Maybe depends. It depends on his current situation currently into next year. Yeah. But he will probably go if he has the funds for it.
2 versions of me running around, or as he would say, 2 versions of him running around in close proximity. This is dark matter coming together.
That would almost be terrifying.
World-ending situation here.
Yeah, it's like if you guys get too close, there'd be an explosion at level San Francisco. You know,
a Qatar level.
It'd be spontaneous combustion right there. But
yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah. Anyway, so but yeah, I mean, figure con-wise in us in our trains, BabsCon is the way to go.
Yeah.
It's the only way. I mean, if by some miracle that they want us to go to like another con like Everfree, actually bring our trains, and they 100% beg us to come to the point where it's like we actually have to respond, then I'm like, okay, well, one, you're gonna have to pay our hotel, and two, yeah, definitely hotel, pretty much. I mean, maybe tickets if it's like really far, but I mean, hotel is a definite yes because that costs a lot.
I want all food covered too, and a rental Ferrari if you can.
Okay, Ferrari. That's a bit
rental Ferrari.
Let's not go that far, but I'm talking just hotel wise, you know. Hotel and parking, if there's paid parking. Hotel and parking, cover that, we'll go. And I will personally drive everything down there myself.
That'd be a hell of a run.
I will film an episode of High Octane in the process.
Yeah.
Fly me out to LA and I'll do riding shotgun with you to swap out drivers if need be.
Oh, that'd be great.
Well, I'd be driving with it too, though. That's the thing too. So we'll have like.
Actually, I calculated the time that it would take me to drive to Baltimore, Maryland, and it would take me approximately 4 days.
And I heard that. I heard Baltimore and Ohio. Do you need to go to sleep?
No.
Baltimore, Ohio.
Although it is 10:14, we should wrap this soon. But I'll finish what I'm going to say. Is that it would take me 3.5 to 4 days total if I did a non-stop cannonball run, pretty much.
Yeah, there was a guy who came out to BronyCon in another one of my Discord groups. He came out from Colorado. You know, he drives a lot for his job, but even still, he did that drive out to Baltimore and back in 2 days.
Ow.
For each leg. He's nuts.
Yes.
That's an Iron Man right there.
Yeah, no kidding.
Iron Man it.
The point being, it was just him in the truck. He didn't have a co-pilot.
Oh, man. I mean, yeah, it's... Geez.
Don't do that deal of crazy, especially when you're traveling with that much train stuff. That's just
yeah, of course. I mean, of course, though, if we did go, that I wouldn't even use my personal truck or vehicle. I would actually put together and get a rental truck.
Yeah.
Use something with a diesel engine.
Yeah, I would.
I say this from horrendous experience. Do not use U-Haul. Use something with a diesel engine.
Really?
Yeah, no, U-Haul is very... They were fine when they used to have diesels, but they don't anymore.
Now they got
they got rid of them because people kept putting gasoline in the diesel tanks.
Oops.
So what brand do you guys should go with?
When I did my last
Ryder and Penske still use diesels.
Penske, okay. We have Penske out here.
Yeah.
And right.
When I moved last, I had one of those 26-footer with V10 Triton engines in them, and what the fuck?
When I was going across the country, I was in a 15-foot U-Haul with a 2-axle trailer with my Jeep on the back of it. The U-Haul was loaded. It had that V10. Let me play you a scene from driving out of Salt Lake City, going up I-80 as we're trying to climb out. If you're familiar with I-80 along that area, it's about a 50% grade. I was being passed by 18-wheelers as I am foot flat to the floor, doing 30 miles an hour, cars flying by me, my mother in her car behind me, ringing my phone off the hook, go faster, my foot's on the floor! Screaming. It took us 15 minutes to do what was 5 minutes for any other car. Why? Because they stick that piece of crap engine in that thing and think, Oh, it's good. Another coworker is trying to tell me, no, man, they put governors on it. No, you couldn't govern that rate of idiocy.
No.
Oh my God.
Okay.
This engine is governed at 15 miles an hour.
Okay.
Makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Do not use U-Haul, for the love of God. Avoid that hell.
Here's something that not many people. There's a way to turn off the.
Yeah,
so
but
it goes faster.
that's the thing. The U-Hauls, they don't have governors. They don't have enough. They don't have enough power to have governors to justify governors.
Going across I-80 across Nevada, the speed limit is 80 miles an hour. So people will go flying right along, including 18-wheelers. Foot flat to the floor. I managed to overheat the transmission, and I topped out
That's
at
always fun.
72.
I've never
overheated a transmission. Balls.
I've never done that to a transmission.
It's possible.
It was pushing so hard it overheated the transmission. Twice, actually.
You know what you should have done?
I was not about to break that thing so that we could have offloaded into another one. We got offered that in Nebraska when we overheated the transmission the second time. Went for about half a day finding a U-Haul place to analyze it. They were the ones who told us, yeah, here's the error code. You can do one of two things. You can either keep going or you can unload everything into a different U-Haul. We said we are not spending a day reloading everything into a different U-Haul. We're just going to run this thing into the ground. Mm-hmm. And a day later, I'm laying in a bed in Illinois having a seizure because of the stress. But that's a story for a different time.
Yeah. But figure, for me, what I would have done in that situation was overheating. And if I was going 30 miles an hour and it kept going slower, at that point, I would have got off the highway, went to a road on the side of the freeway, off of traffic. I would have put it in drive, go forward, and then banged it into reverse.
Why? Just to smack it up good and end it?
Yeah, I would blow the tail housing off the transmission and say, hey, by the way, I was going up a grade and I just coasted off the and your transmission just blew up.
Oh, man, I'm going to need to remember this for next time.
Bring me another truck. On the house. Just neutral slam it into fucking reverse from drive.
I saw somebody do that in a Mustang on the freeway once. It's terrifying. The freaking thing just explodes.
Oh,
basically it's everywhere. A money shift. It is an automatic transmission money shift.
Yeah, it's a transmission
the end
killer
of an automatic.
Yeah, it is.
It is the end. You cannot fix that. It has to be completely replaced.
Oh yeah, you need a new housing and everything.
The whole transmission's done. You have to literally take the entire transmission out and replace it. There's no rebuilding. There's no nothing at that point.
Oh,
the entire transmission has basically just ripped itself to shreds.
You literally, it really takes, figure this is what happens. You take the planetary gears that are inside there, and they literally go from going forward, and the reverse gear hits the forward ones, and they collide together in opposite directions into each other. And then all of a sudden, it just, boom! It
just shatters.
It implodes.
Shatters.
Yeah, I've seen somebody do that once. Not only they blew off the tail housing of the transmission, but they twisted the drive shaft in half.
Wow!
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's rather terrifying.
So
imagine seeing somebody do that. Imagine seeing somebody do that in the on the freeway.
Yeah.
Just straight up on the freeway. Bam, boom.
Yeah, dude. Anyway, so I guess that's gonna wrap up this episode of Parlor Card. There is another one coming up, I believe, on. Let me check, because I do know we posted it, but I just want to be sure. Say it in the extra measure. That's right. August 26th.
Yeah.
Right? August 26th is the next date for the next parlor car. Same time that we're gonna start. Whether if we end at the right time, who knows? So anyway,
depends on how much we drink.
Well, yeah, in that case, yeah, but yeah. So definitely subscribe to the channel if you like this. Hit like, leave a comment, see if you want to have us talk about something, or ask questions, or have us do something. I mean, give us some ideas. You know.
Yeah.
Give us
like,
ideas.
Subscribe, all that stuff.
All that stuff, and also
subscribe to our Patreon. Oh wait,
if I was just gonna get to that, we will be doing a Patreon at some point. So if you see that, get subscribed to that, and help us out.
Yeah,
it'd be very much appreciated. All right, that's a wrap.
My name is Dave.
I hope I don't get a copyright strike for that.